Welcome back to Channel Nation of Glory. Today, we bring you the story of a man who walked through darkness to find his light. A man who spent years battling pain, doubt, and demons both inside and out before rising to become one of the most powerful, respected, and feared stars in modern wrestling. His journey is not just about championship gold or glory in the ring. It's about redemption, belief, and transformation. This is the story of Luis Martínez, known to the world as Damian Priest, the Archer of Infamy, who turned his struggles into strength and carved his name among the immortals. Luis Martínez was born on September 26, 1982, in New York City, but his roots go deep into the heart of Puerto Rico, a place known for its passion, pride, and power. His parents, proud Puerto Ricans, raised him with discipline and culture. But life wasn't easy. Growing up in the Bronx, Luis saw both the beauty and the brutality of the streets. It was a place where dreams were hard to hold onto, where temptation and trouble lurked around every corner. As a young boy, he loved superheroes, larger-than-life figures who fought evil and stood tall in the face of danger. He wanted to be one of them. But as he got older, reality hit hard. His size and strength made him a target, and his quiet, introverted nature made him an outcast. He got into fights, drifted through life, and struggled to find his purpose. But then came the one thing that would change everything: wrestling. Luis would sit in front of the TV and watch legends like The Undertaker, Razor Ramon, and Bret Hart, mesmerized by their power, their presence, and their aura. For the first time, he saw people who looked unstoppable, men who stood for something more than themselves. And deep down, something inside him whispered, "That's who I want to be." But wanting something and getting it are two different worlds. He didn't come from money, connections, or privilege. He had to build himself from scratch. After finishing school, he started training in martial arts, learning discipline and balance. He fell in love with the physical and mental challenge of it. The dojo became his safe space, a place where pain became progress. That love for combat led him to professional wrestling training in the early 2000s. It wasn't glamorous. The gyms were small, the mats were old, and the pay was almost nothing. But for Luis, it wasn't about money. It was about proving to himself that he could rise. That he could be something more. He started wrestling under his real name, slowly building a reputation in the independent circuit. He had the size, the look, and the attitude. But he lacked one thing: identity. He was strong, yes. Skilled, yes. But who was he really? That question haunted him for years. Then came the moment of clarity when Luis Martínez became Damian Priest. The name was symbolic, Damian representing the darkness he had lived through, and Priest symbolizing his search for light, redemption, and purpose. It was more than a stage name, it was a reflection of his soul. The duality of man, sinner and savior, warrior and protector. His new persona caught fire in Ring of Honor Row, where he began to turn heads with his charisma and power. He carried himself differently, mysterious yet magnetic. He wasn't trying to be someone else anymore. He was himself, and that authenticity made people pay attention. WWE soon took notice. And in 2018, Damian Priest officially signed with NXT, the proving ground for the next generation of stars. His debut wasn't just a match, it was a statement. The lights dimmed, his music hit, and out walked a man who looked like he was born for this. Tall, tattooed, and intense, Priest had an aura that demanded respect. But the journey wasn't smooth. In NXT, competition was fierce. Priest had to earn his place among names like Finn Balor, Adam Cole, and Johnny Gargano. Every match, every promo, every appearance, he gave it everything. Slowly but surely, the fans started to see what he was made of. Then came the turning point: NXT TakeOver in Your House 2020. Priest faced Finn Balor in a match that would define him. He didn't win that night, but what he earned was far greater respect. The world finally saw that Damian Priest wasn't just another big man, he was a performer, an athlete, and a storyteller. From that moment on, he was unstoppable. Later that year, he captured the NXT North American Championship, defeating Johnny Gargano. The Archer of Infamy had arrived, and he was aiming straight for the stars. But as every chapter ends, a new one begins. In 2021, Damian Priest was called up to the WWE main roster. And not just anywhere, he debuted on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania 37. Teaming up with global music sensation Bad Bunny, Priest became part of one of the most talked about matches of the year. For a kid from the Bronx who once struggled to find direction, standing under the bright lights of WrestleMania was more than a dream, it was destiny. The crowd roared, the cameras flashed, and in that moment, Damian Priest wasn't just performing, he was living proof that hard work, patience, and faith can take you anywhere. But what makes Priest truly special isn't just his talent, it's his depth. He carries himself with quiet confidence, always grateful, always grounded. Behind the tattoos and the intensity lies a man who's fought his inner battles and come out stronger. He often says, "I've done things I'm not proud of, but those things made me who I am." That honesty, that humanity is what connects him with people. In the years that followed, Damian Priest became one of the pillars of WWE's modern era. His matches with top stars like Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Finn Balor showed his power, his endurance, and his ability to tell stories that hit you right in the heart. And then came the formation of the Judgment Day, a group that changed everything. Alongside Edge, Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio, Priest found a new purpose. They weren't just villains, they were a family of outcasts who turned pain into power. Priest, in particular, stood out as the voice of reason and wrath, calm yet dangerous, disciplined yet destructive. In 2023, everything came full circle when Damian Priest won the Money in the Bank contract. The crowd erupted as he stood on the ladder, briefcase in hand, his eyes filled with fire. It was a symbol not just of success, but of survival. Every setback, every scar, every dark night had led him there. And when the time came, he cashed it in, winning his first WWE World Championship. The same man who once doubted his worth now stood as the face of an empire. But even after achieving everything, fame, gold, glory, Damian Priest never forgot where he came from. He often talks about his parents, about his Puerto Rican pride, about the struggles that made him. He still visits kids who come from broken neighborhoods, reminding them that your past doesn't define you, your choices do. That's what makes his story so powerful. He's not just a wrestler. He's a message. A living example that no matter how dark your world becomes, there's always a light waiting if you keep fighting for it. Every time Damian Priest walks down that ramp, you can feel the weight of his journey, the pain, the redemption, the pride. His entrance music says it all, "I'm my own enemy." It's a constant reminder of his inner battle, and how he turned it into his greatest weapon. He's not a hero or a villain. He's something deeper, a man who accepts both sides of himself and uses them to become stronger. That's why fans connect with him, because he's real. He's not pretending to be perfect. He's proof that imperfection can still lead to greatness. Today, Damian Priest stands tall, a champion, a leader, a symbol of strength and spirit. From the streets of New York to the bright lights of WWE, his journey reminds us that every scar tells a story, and every failure can lead to faith if you keep moving forward. He once said, "I want to leave behind a legacy that makes people feel something." And he already has. Because Damian Priest isn't just the Archer of Infamy, he's the embodiment of transformation. He's the man who took every broken piece of his past and built a masterpiece. Thank you for watching this emotional and powerful story of Damian Priest, the warrior who fought his demons and found his destiny. If you felt inspired by this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Channel Nation of Glory for more emotional and motivational stories from the world of wrestling and Hollywood. Because here, every story is more than fame, it's about faith, fight, and finding yourself again. Sparkles, until next time, stay inspired, stay strong, and remember, the light always wins.